The Dershow.
I spent a good part of Friday along with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as you know, an old friend, known him since the early 1970s, and his wife. Um, I went to see him deliver a speech at the UN. Then we met in his hotel, and then we met for dinner. And I also spent a little bit of time with him after the UN. It was interesting how his mood changed. He seemed a little nervous at the UN. Of course, as he was speaking at the UN, planes were taking off to drop bombs and kill Nasara, the head of the Hezbollah. And by the time he finished his speech, we were supposed to see him right after his speech, but he got delayed, and we didn't know why he got delayed. And he came out, seemed a little less nervous. At that point, he knew that there had been an attack on Nasrallah. He didn't know whether they had gotten him or not, although intelligence said it seemed likely that he was in the building when it was attacked. Then we met him again, and then he was very late, and we were told that he was in a security meeting with his cabinet. At that point, they were assessing all the information. And when he came out and met with us, he was smiling. And then, and one of his top aides suggested that this was a day that people would write about. Then we went and had dinner with him. Again, it hadn't been yet confirmed. The IDF requires 2 independent sources before they'll confirm, but he seemed pretty encouraged. And of course, he then got on his airplane, flew back, and in the middle of the night, it was confirmed that that they had gotten Nasrallah, which really makes the world a safer place. When he was killed, the Washington Post, the New York Times, NPR Radio, and others wrote obituaries praising him, saying he was a charismatic leader. Well, did they say that about Hitler? He was a charismatic leader. When somebody like that dies, the headline is not he's a charismatic leader. The headline is he's a murderous terrorist who killed thousands of innocent people, including 230 Americans. That's the headline, but not in the New York Times and not in the Washington Post. They were praising him and eulogizing him as if he were Franklin Delano Roosevelt rather than Adolf Hitler. It's just disgraceful how the media deals with terrorists. Some of the obituaries didn't even use the word terrorism, that he was a charismatic leader of, the group that's opposed to Israel, praising him to the sky. Hezbollah is going to do what it's done before. It's going to stop trying to fight with Israel's armies. Instead, it's going to send its people to Europe to blow up synagogues and to blow up elementary schools and kindergartens and try to murder Jewish children, which it's done before. Of course, Hezbollah blew up the Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires. It blew up the Israeli embassy in Argentina. Of course, it blew up Americans, 230 or so of them. And I think Israel ought to announce now that any attack on any Israel-related institution, Jewish institution, pro-Israel institution, any attack from Hezbollah or its surrogates will be regarded as an attack on Israel by Iran, and that Israel would respond exactly as it would have responded and did respond when Iran sent 300 missiles and rockets and other things into Israel. Fortunately, with the help of the United States and Jordan and other countries in the region, all but one of those rockets were repelled. That one rocket did very seriously injure an Israeli, a Bedouin Arab woman. But if there is an attack on a synagogue or on a school, Israel has to respond by going after Iran's nuclear facilities. That has to be the next target. We know that the mullahs have already gone underground. They realize that if Israel can, A, get Nasrallah in the middle of Beirut and could get the head of Hamas, who was in Tehran in a well-guarded place where he was a guest, and they blew him up. If Israel can get at them, it can get at the mullahs, and I have no doubt that it can get at the mullahs, and that's why they're now going into hiding. They can hide, they can run, but the long arm of Israel will get them. And I think there are a lot of people having sleepless nights now, based on what happened to Nasrallah and what's probably going to happen at some point to Sinwar.